What the hell is that thing?
Probably that monster Nath warned us about, if I had to guess.
Do you think this might have been where one of those lights that shot out of the wedge landed?
But why this location? If the purpose of the wedge is to harvest Dana's astral energy.
We can figure that out later. If that thing gets into town, it's going to cause chaos. We need to take it down and move on. Let's go! This one's tough, but we have no choice.
Let me know if you need healing.
Ready and raring.
Here it comes! Focus!
On your toes, everyone!
Suddenly turning tail doesn't seem so ridiculous.
Why? Are you scared?
Me? Are you?
Do you even have to ask? Of course I'm scared!
Focus up before we become that thing's lunch.
It's summoning Dougal? Take care of them while keeping an eye on it!
Leave the charges to me! Can you take it? In a bind?
I shall ensure you survive this.
A chain between heaven and
Carve
earth!
through all kinds of
A whirling energy of lightning! Here, flame of fury!
On your denied! Double demon fang!
I never miss! Feel!
Air pressure! Vacuum blade! Now, while it's freely!
Take it down! Lightning orb!
I'll blind you with a armor won't
Charge like
save
that
you!
could easily be fatal.
Just as well, I'm here to stop.
No further!
Let's get you all tucked
Back!
away!
This one's all mine! Take! Pull them away!
There! I'm all stuffed up! Lightning orb! Alright!
Vacuum
It's
blade!
showtime! I hear you all! Blah blah blah! Healing circle!
I owe you one! Ready and rare! Fear!
Lunar breath!
Armor won't save you! Eagle ray! Not done! Vacuum blade!
There you go! Don't let up!
Vacuum blade!
Feel! Burning spear! Pierce evil!
Take it! I'm not done!
The earth throws.
Hold on here! Here I come! Wind after do it!
Chill!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished.
Here come more!
We'll just have to keep fighting. The enemy wields ours too.
You'll soon see about that! Eat dirt!
Vacuum blade!
In a bind?
You picked the wrong fight.
My turn! There! Vacuum blade!
Air thrust!
Resonate with the earth!
I could do without this. No,
Can't get here!
I couldn't make it in time.
Coming through!
Far enough!
From beyond, imbued
Not on
with
my
vanquished
watch!
souls. I'm ready! All yours, Kisara. From beyond, imbue this vanquished soul with life. Resuscitation.
It's showtime! Mega Ray!
Not done yet.
They're all coming after me!
I'm coming, Manuel.
I'm not scared.
I owe you one.
I'm totally fine. Glacial spear. Pierce evil. Cherish.
Begin! Elusive deity! Eagle ray!
I'll bring you back from death's abyss.
Take this!
Reflect.
Lightning thrust!
They smite with blackened blade.
That's been a smart.
Execute time!
Nothing gets by me!
Take this!
Reinforcements incoming!
Not a problem.
I'm not done!
Breath of life. Heal my weary
This one's all mine!
No more playing nice.
being interrupted.
Struck!
Here's a hero.
Vacuum blade!
First aid.
There!
This go.
On your knees! You're mine! There!
It's time to finish this! Die! Consuming wildfire!
Benediction light.
Take this!
Healing circle!
Vacuum blade!
I thought you were going to wreck them.
I'm not nearly finished yet.
And I'll provide assistance however I can.
As impressive as always.
Here I hope there was some.
No, I mean, you're even better than ever. I've never seen
really
Leon
not formal.
actually look flustered.
Blade! Eat dirt!
Mega Ray! Heaven and Earth! Annihilation! A wailing dancing lightning!
There!
Confiscate! Got it!
Vacuum blade!
Now's our chance! Where are you going?
Breath of life. Heal my weary companion.
Take this!
Can't move.
Forgive me. This is my fault.
Negative gate.
Not done yet! Here I come!
Take this.
Here, let me help.
Blade!
Elusive deity. Take
Do it!
Look sharp!
lightning tiger blade.
Take this! It's on!
I'll smash you.
Vacuum blade!
Coming through! Hear me! Holy Land!
You're mine!
I'm in your deck, Darle. Then tonight's meal is on you.
You got it. Now what to make?
It's about to strike!
Look sharp, everyone!
Everyone all right?
We won't surrender. We won't retreat. Not yet.
Whatever you do, just please stay safe. I've still got some fight left in
How
me.
are we supposed to take on something so big?
I'll handle it.
Open!
Watch and learn. That's enough! Go back down! Everyone okay?
Yeah, I think so.
That thing scared the pants off me.
It felt like it had a different aura than other Zeugles, didn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't like the one that Almadria sicked on us either.
Its elemental astral energy variance was out of this world. It was like fighting a lord.
I guess it's safe to assume that if it came out of the wedge, it must have played some part in helping harvest astral energy. But what?
Perhaps a living spirit vessel? It's plausible, given the location. Or it may be part of a new force dispatched to regain control of Dana.
If we assume that monster was one of the 4 beams of light, we must have prevented something from taking place here.
I'd like to think so, knowing how much grief it gave us. But at least with that out of the way, we can keep moving forward now. Let's go. I can feel my power growing!
Hey, is that it over there?
I always love the sound of hammers banging away.
Alvin?
Did you remember something?
No, but I have seen this starship before. This is it. This is the ship I traveled in when I escaped from Lenegis.
Three centuries later, and it's no worse for wear. I'll take a look at the internals.
Damn! I'm amazed it still works at all after all this time.
The past meets the present. I really am from a different time and place.
Yeah, but you've got us now, Alvin.
Not only that, but you've helped out so many people, too.
Law's right. Rinwell too. You're one of us now. No more carrying the weight of history on your shoulders. You're a part of this world.
Right. Thanks, you guys.
How's it look?
It should fly. All internal systems seem to be operating. However, considering how long it's remained inactive, I suspect it will take some time before it's ready for takeoff.
How much time are we talking here?
Starship mechanics are not what I'd call my forte, so I'd rather not hazard a guess.
So we've just got to sit around here and wait? I'm terrible at waiting.
That's because you're a child. Oh, but how about we use this time to prepare and gather supplies for the trip?
Good idea. Who knows when we'll be back from Lenegis once we leave. We should prepare ourselves for every possible scenario before we go.
Let's try not to stay away too long. I'd hate for anything to happen to the place while we're gone.
Either we race ahead, or we take due precaution to ensure we have no regrets. I shall leave it up to you as to how we proceed, Alphen.
Works for me.
It's funny, isn't it?
What is?
All this. When we first started this thing, did you ever imagine we'd be going to Lenegis? After all, this is the sort of thing I was rebelling against when I ran away from home, right?
I'm sure Zephyr would be proud if he knew what his son was doing right now.
And a little shocked, too.
We're defying the order of things that have persisted for 300 years. Deep down, I knew our journey would lead to confronting Lenegis.
Yeah, you maybe, but you're a Renan. The rest of us can barely even picture what it means to leave Dana.
No offense to Shion and Dohalim, but it's worth remembering we're heading into enemy territory.
No offense taken, and this is no picnic for me either.
Remember, our aim is to ensure that both Lenegis and the Renan homeworld leave Dana alone for good. I don't think we'll be able to avoid a fight.
Is there no way we can talk them into leaving us alone?
The people of Lenegis?
Sure. I mean, we found a way to make it work with Shion and Dohalim, right? And it's not just us. If places like Menancia can do it, then why can't we?
Because there are still many of my kind who believe it was right and natural that Rena reigns over Dana. There are those on Lenegis who have never stepped foot on Dana. I doubt whether they'd even listen to Danans.
Look, none of us want to fight. But these are the same people who fired that wedge down on Dana. What happens next is on them.
Right. We're not going to sit back and wait for them to oppress us again.
Right.
Don't forget, there's also a good chance the Red Woman is somewhere on Lenegis. And wherever she is, we should find the Renaissance too.
That's right. If we can take it back, then Xion can finally get rid of her thorns. Xion?
Huh? Yeah.
Where? Xion? Where'd Xion go? How could she just go off on her own? She's not over there. Where did she run off to? Xion. Xion! It's your thorns? But why? You okay? Just now, it looked like you used your maiden powers to suppress your thorns. You can really do that?
Stay out of my way.
Wait a second. Are you planning to go alone?
Shut up!
Why would you do this?
I told you to shut up!
I won't let you.
I mean it.
I refuse to let you.
I won't tell you again. Move or I'll shoot.
If that's the case, then go ahead and shoot me!
Do you remember back when I was stabbed? By Volron?
Yeah. I thought for sure that he had killed you back there.
That wasn't the first time. The first time was when I was only a child. After that, no matter how often, I just couldn't die.
Couldn't die? So you're immortal? How's that even...
I believe you, Xion. But tell me how is something like that possible?
My thorns. They're me, but at the same time not. They're part of me. I have no idea why, but my thorns will never let me die. At least not before I'm meant to.
You can't die before your death?
When my thorns free themselves, it will be my death. I've seen it. A darkness that swallows up everything until nothing remains. It's a vision of oblivion I can't escape. I want to believe it's all just a bad dream. But no matter what I tell myself, I know it's not.
Yeah, but you... Wait. The whole reason you needed the Renaissance was to get rid of your thorns, right?
If I burn away what's inside, then what will happen to the rest of me? Right. Either way you look at it, I'm going to die. But if I am going to die, I figure I can at least take my thorns out with me. That's what I've been after this whole time.
That's why you turned your back on your fellow Renans and chose to fight with us, isn't it? And while we've all been fighting to keep on living, you have been with us fighting desperately to die.
That was the plan. But then I met all of you. And before I knew it, I didn't want to die anymore.
Shion, don't lose hope yet. We'll find a way to save you. There's still time to.
It's pointless.
Why?
Because the darkness won't just consume me. The truth is, it will consume all of existence as well. It was only a suspicion at first, but ever since the Red Woman triggered my maiden powers, I've been more certain than ever before. It was then that I finally came to realize my powers were holding my thorns in check the entire time. But they don't anymore. Not since Lenegis, when the wedge fell. Every day, I feel the thorn's power growing stronger inside of me. Pretty soon, I won't be able to hold them back anymore. And when that happens,
They will consume all existence.
And that's why you wanted to leave by yourself. You planned to find the Renaissance on your own and sacrifice yourself to stop the thorns.
But that's... too much. It's way too much.
when this all began, I didn't care what happened to me or anyone else. And what happened to the Renans or the Danans didn't matter to me at all. I know I have to die, but I don't want to. Not now that I have this. I wish we had never met. Then I wouldn't have to feel this way.
Shion! Living for the sake of dying is no better than being a slave. How can you endure this?
Elfin.
It's not fair. I don't care what anybody says. I won't let it happen. We can fight this. Fight until the end together. Isn't that what you said to me before?
Even if it should mean that it'll be the end of everything else, too?
Shion, what do you want? It's your decision, ultimately. But if you decide not to fight fate, I will. Even if I have to do it alone.
No, you won't be alone. I'll fight as well.
Count me in as well. I want to be a force for good, not hate.
And me too. I meant it with all of my heart when I told you before. Neither of you are alone in this at all.
You guys...
And I, for one, don't believe this venture is without hope.
Huh?
Shion is the descendant of a maiden from 300 years ago. Given the circumstances, it seems very likely that those events have some connection to her thorns. The true nature of which, I imagine we will discover as we make our way to Lenegis and uncover the truth of what's unfolding here.
I take it you mean we might find a way to get rid of her thorns and she'll live?
It's certainly possible. Though I suspect the nature of the Sovereign is connected somehow.
So be it. I've already lost everything I had once. And I won't let it happen again. Shion. No matter what happens from now on, we're right here with you. All of us are. You are not alone.
You guys. You're all so stubborn. Thank you, everyone. For right now, and a little while longer, I just want to hold on to this dream. And most of all, more than anything else, I want to be with all of you. So let's go. On to Lenegis.
The end of the world. It's hard to believe, isn't it?
I believe Shion is telling the truth. What about you?
As a friend, yes, I want to believe her. Everything that's happened seems to point towards some sort of great danger that's lurking ahead of us. Still, it's hard to fathom something that could usher outright doom to the world. That those really are the stakes we face.
No, I understand. Even Shion doesn't seem to know exactly what will happen to bring it all about.
We have so many pieces of the puzzle in our hands, so many clues, yet the complete picture eludes us.
So where do her thorns fit in then?
Well, I imagine they must sit at the very center of it all. You remember the voice we all heard while we were inside the wedge, don't you?
Yeah, I remember. It was the will of Dana's astral energy come to life. Well, that's what we all thought.
Right. And from that, we're able to hypothesize how vast concentrations of astral energy can become sentient. Let's return to when we found Shion in Pelagian. When her thorns went wild, they contained far more astral energy than any mere Renin would normally have inside them.
So you think those thorns might be alive too? That their will is what keeps her from dying? But why would they want to destroy the entire world?
As for that, I really cannot say for certain. Its goals still remain a mystery. It may be a mere fluke that her maiden powers have been able to contain it thus far.
You know, I've noticed since we've met that you like figuring out riddles.
Can you blame me? When one realizes that the world they once thought to be true is but a mere facade, they can't help but seek the truth. Especially when that deception has led to others getting hurt.
Dohalim?
I imagine the remaining pieces of the puzzle that we seek rest somewhere within Lenegis. As for what the final picture will look like, who can say? I think it's best we not dwell on it too much for the time being.
Right.
How you holding up?
Who, me?
Yes, you. You took a hit from those thorns again, didn't you?
Oh, that? That was nothing.
Compared to what Shion's going through, you mean? Still, even if you yourself might be willing to endure that kind of pain, that doesn't mean Shion wants to have to see you get hurt by her thorns, you know?
Yeah, I know. I'll be careful.
Shion doesn't know how lucky she is to have you around, you know? Dashing in to save her at the last minute.
Yeah, very funny.
I'm being serious. You went up and held her close like you still had that mask on, and you didn't even bat an eye. She really needed that. That's what I mean when I said you saved her. Just like you did with the rest of us.
I just want for Shion what we all have. The ability to touch someone without the fear of killing them. Those thorns have robbed her of the kind of everyday things we all take for granted. And it's not right.
You can say that again. It may be normal for us, but that doesn't make it any less special or important for her. I hope she gets what she wants. I have my own dreams, but a world without her, where she dies so we can all survive, isn't a world I want to live in.
Agreed. It's like more and more keeps getting taken from her, and I'm done with it. Can't sleep?
After everything we just heard,
Fair enough.
Shion's had to deal with so much on her own. Even when we were all laughing and celebrating, she just kept quiet and didn't say anything. I thought she was keeping her distance because of her thorns. That it was because she didn't want to hurt anybody by getting too close. I just figured that that was the type of person she was, but it turned out to be none of that. All this time, she felt like she had to die and sacrifice herself for the greater good. But even then, she didn't think she could say anything to us about it.
I know.
She was so alone this entire time. How could I call her a friend and yet be so—
I'm sure it made her happy, knowing you were—
You—
Yeah, I do. If she didn't think of us as friends, I don't think she could have ever opened up to us. You were a good friend to her before, and you'll be an even better—
Yeah, I really hope so. When you think about it, we were all alone, but over time, we've all found ways to let each other into our lives. I hope I hope she's able to do that more. I think it'd be really nice if we could all just be there to support each other when it really counts. And forget—
Rinwell.
Did you know?
You mean about Shion?
Yeah, I didn't have the slightest idea. I mean, every once in a while I thought something— It's like a completely different world was spinning around me and I couldn't—
You and me both. I mean, I knew something was bothering her, but—
You? But you're the one always looking out for—
That's what I thought. But in reality, I didn't understand it all.
At least you figured it out in time though, right?
I don't think we're out of the woods yet. But yeah, you're right. We brought her back from the edge.
Yeah, with all of us together, there's nothing we can't handle.
I know. No lone wolf.
Hey, you're the expert on what my dad would say.
Zephyr.
I guess—
Law.
Sorry, we'll need— probably—
Yeah, Hey, you doing all right?
I seem to cause nothing but worry. As much as I try to look like I have things under control, everyone still worries about me.
You're not the only one.
Hey, do you remember the first time you said I was your friend?
No? When was that? Sorry, I can't remember.
That's okay. It came so naturally to you, I'm not surprised you forgot. I was different back then. The Danans were not even people to me, and I knew I would always be alone. But in that room with Deadheim, When you called me your friend, it just shattered the wall that I'd built up around me. Because until that moment, I'd only seen you as a means to an end. I thought of you as a way to use the blazing sword, and to obtain the Renis Alma. But after that day, one time became two, and before I knew it, you'd made a habit of calling me and Dohalim your friends. It didn't matter that we were Renins. You cared about us as you would any other people. Then, everyone else started to call me their friend too. To think of me as their friend. Before then, I never even dreamed I could have that. I didn't want to die and lose you all. But I also didn't want to live if it meant you would all die in my place.
Shion.
But then I realized I'd only really been thinking of myself that entire time. After saying how I felt, and hearing what you all had to say, I finally understood that. Don't worry, it's okay. I'm not planning on dying anymore. I've met too many people along the way who I truly care about to give in now. So I'll fight. For Dana and for myself. I'll fight against my fate to preserve our future. And I'll win, come hell or high water. I don't know how we're going to do it, but I won't let the world end because of me.
It's going to be a long, hard road ahead, Shion. Our fight won't be over until everyone, both Danans and Renins, can finally live in peace. But I swear I'll be there with you until the very end.
Thank you.
Remember what we learned back in Calaglia? There's no wall so high that we can't break it down.
Yeah, I think you may be right about that.
Everyone well rested? Then let's go. We depart for Lenegis.
Huh? Why are you staring at me?
Oh, we thought we'd turn the tape.
What do you know? Another big fire monster with nothing better to...
I wonder where the rest of those lights ended up landing.
Well, whatever they're after, let's just hope none of them are anywhere near a city.
Well, no rest for the wicked, right? Though with 1 down and 3 to go, it sounds like our...
I thought you liked the opportunity to flex...
Against those things? Besides, we've already got our hands full saving the world.
Yeah, I guess I can't argue.
Hey!
Shion, could we talk a moment?
Hey, do you have time to talk? There's something I need to ask you.
Of course. What's up?
It's about the doll I used to have as a little girl. I gave it some more thought, and I still don't remember actually receiving it from anyone.
You were so little. I don't...
Yeah, but here's the thing. That doll was so old. I know that it's extremely unlikely, but after last time we talked, it got me thinking. Maybe you brought the doll that child made with you to Lenegis.
I couldn't be.
Are you saying you didn't? Look, Logically speaking, I know it's a lot more likely that you didn't bring it with you than you did. But you can't say for sure you didn't, right? Crazier things have happened. I always thought I'd be alone, only to end up meeting you. Sometimes things happen in life that we never thought...
You make a good point. I left everyone and everything I knew behind 300...
Exactly. You crossed all those centuries to...
Why can't a little doll have made the same jump too?
Right? Look, it's up to you to decide if there's any meaning behind all of this. But
Yeah, I think so too. There's something beautiful about the...
Sorry if I'm a bit restless during the night. Morning. Ready to head out?
Well, it's the moment of truth.
This lady better hold together once we're up in the air.
La, don't say that! You're going to jinx us!
Speaking of which, Alphen, this bucket of bolts got a name?
A name? You know, I'm not sure she ever had one. I never really thought about it.
Well, after all the trouble we went through to find her, we should give her one, right? I was thinking...
Fall Nights.
Huh?
It means owl in the ancient tongue. Literally, the one drawn to the skies.
I like it. Sounds perfect for our little escapade.
Not sure I'm completely convinced, but, well, it's as good a name as any. From now on, she'll be known as the Fall Knights.
Okay, people. We have two goals. First, we need to get to Lenegis and make the Renans finally leave Dana alone. And then, we need to figure out the truth behind Shion's thorns and find a way to save her. Sound good? All right, then let's go.
You know, I can still hardly believe it.
Believe what?
I mean, just look at it. The whole of existence, crammed inside a tiny frame.
Now that you mention it, I guess you're right. It does look more like a painting than a living, breathing world.
From up here, all the struggles we've been through feel so insignificant.
Nothing like realizing how small you are to put everything into perspective. Kinda makes the differences between the Renans and the Danans feel pretty small too, huh?
How much longer until we reach Lenegis?
There are better ways to use your time than napping. We should take a moment to familiarize ourselves with the facilities on board before arrival.
Good idea. The starship may end up serving as our base of operations once we're down there. Think you'll be all right with the controls?
You mean the one set to automatic pilot? I dare say I'll manage. I'm basically just here to supervise.
In that case, she's all yours.
Everything okay, Shion? You seem a little different.
Different? Like in a bad way different?
No, not at all. You seem more driven lately, like you...
Is something wrong?
No. I was merely thinking how it had been 7 years.
You mean since you became a lord and left Lenegis? I guess even someone like you can get home.
I am as prone to sentimentality as any other. You too have a history with Lenegis. A traumatic one, no less. This trip, doesn't that frighten?
Well, it is a place where I took the lives of countless people. I'd be lying if but I can't keep running forever. The past is what it is. There's no changing that.
I see.
Dohalim?
Forgive me. I was wrong to pry. We have more. Come back and speak to me when you've finished looking around the ship.
We'll be going to Lenegis soon.
This must feel like a homecoming of sorts. What was life on Lenegis like back then?
Let's just say, I don't have many happy memories. I've had they called it treatment. But in truth, they were just using me as a guinea pig for their research.
You mean, they
That's right. All I was to them was a riddle to solve. They poked and prodded me, trying to figure out what day in and day out, every single day, one test after another. I'm still surprised. The look they gave me whenever one of them touched my skin. How could I forget it? Reeling from some existence, huh? A blight on any I touched. Helplessly I thought things couldn't get any worse. But then they did. I started to have nightmares, visions of the coming. Is it any wonder I lacked a cheery disposition? Unable to so much as touch another soul. Loneliness. Sure, I survived, but with the knowledge that one day I'd be swallowed up by oblivion. And that's when it hit me. If I was going to die, then it should mean something.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
You say it's your destiny to die so that others can live. But why not the other way around? Why shouldn't we be the one?
Are you crazy?
That's exactly my... Why should you have to give up your life just because you drew the It's that logic that's used to justify slavery. As if some of us were just This struggle was never about saving only ourselves. But that doesn't... If we're doing this to protect people, if we're doing this to save...
A world free of sacrifice.
Not just me. We're in this together, remember? This fight is yours. If we're going to win, everyone has to win. There can be no room... Now I see it. The true nature of our...
A victory without losers. But that means that a Danon victory over Rena can't be the end.
You bet we can pull it off. We have to. It's the...
Yeah, you're right. No one's... We can do this.
Hey, Alphen, listen to this! So Law and I were just talking and...
Hey!
What's got...
Only that he's afraid of flying, the big baby. And after all that fuss...
Hey! I never said I was scared. I just think it's, you know, a little unsettling how we're going to be cruising through space.
It's a starship, dummy. That's what it's supposed to do.
Well, maybe you're the one with the problem then.
Guys. I'm no expert, but I think we can trust Renan technology.
Oh, that's a good point. If you think so, Alphen, it might...
Hard to argue with that, seeing how you hitched a ride in one of these things before, Alphen.
You okay?
Actually, now that you mention it, not at all. These starships are a
Glad to hear it. That device there caught your eye, huh?
I was just wondering what it is. It looks big enough to fit a person inside.
It's a healing pod. It fixes it.
Oh, you don't say. Well, that should Alphen?
No, I was just thinking back to when I escaped Lenegis, that's all. Naori laid me inside.
So, you're saying you got in this thing straight after escaping? But that mean...
Yes, It sounds crazy, I know. But don't even...
That's definitely quite some lie-in, all right. But still, whether you meant to or not...
What do you mean?
With the amount of fighting we've done, we would have never made it this far without you. Alphen, can you recall back to what it is that I said to you? Back when we left Menancia?
Of course. That's why you came with us, right? To learn what you...
Even in that time, I was well aware that what I was living was a lie. But at the same time, I'll always remember him fondly. But the coexistence we're fighting for isn't for him. It's for... The world's bigger than just Menancia. My dream is for all Danans, wherever they might... If I've learned anything on this journey, and the one who brought me along was you.
Well, we're not out of this forest just yet. You should probably save your thanks. At least, until we've dealt with the...
I know. But whatever we find when we...
Kisara.
Probably getting a little ahead of my...
Is everyone about ready? We'll soon be making preparations to land.
Before we do that, just what exactly should we expect when we get down there?
Kisara has a point. Now that I think of it, I don't know the first thing about Lenegis.
I'd like to hear more too. It's been centuries since I was last there, and they didn't exactly give me the grand tour.
Very well. First and foremost, Lenegis was. Of course, it also happens to be a city in its own right, complete with its social structure is based on a strict hierarchy. Put simply, the strength of an individual's...
Enough to determine someone's social rank, you mean? But astral arts are innate, right? So people's positions are fixed at...
They can be honed with the right training, and there are admittedly other factors at play. But yes, as a result, family lines that churn out lords and their contenders wield disproportionate influence.
Those capable of only weak astral arts are effectively an underclass, denied the right to descend to Dana even if they wanted to. Still, even the lowest rung on the Renin ladder is considered superior to being a Danan. Keep that in mind down there.
Thanks for the warning. As a lord, Dohalim must have been pretty high up in the pecking order, right? What about you, Shion?
Come on, you've seen her skill with astral arts. You really need to ask?
Fair point.
On arts alone, you're right. I'd have been sitting pretty. But you're forgetting my thorns. They weren't exactly an invitation to high society.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's refreshing to be around someone who says what they're thinking. Life's...
Jeez, give backhanded...
Wait a second. Are you? He is!
I am not!
Of course, separating people into castes based on something arbitrary like arts is discrimination at its worst. As if such simplistic criteria could ever be a measure of some...
So this Red Woman, are we expecting to find her on...
I would wager so. Lenegis is too deeply involved in all this to discard the... Chances are she's also connected to the Renis Alma being stolen from us in Pelegion.
If the Renis Alma is being used to exploit Dana, we need to take it back at all costs.
That Red Woman's got a lot to answer for. Just as well I've got a ton of questions.
We're about to land. The descent could be a little bumpy, so brace...
If there are clues about your thorns out there, Shion, we'll find them. There's no one here. I wasn't expecting a welcome mat, but still.
Lenegis's infrastructure is largely automated. Besides, people won't be expecting incoming traffic while the crown contest is still underway.
Do you think anyone realizes that we're here?
We may not have received a royal welcome, but I doubt our entrance went unnoticed. Don't let your guard down.
I really hope we don't have to fight anybody while we're here.
So now what? We've come all this way on a hunch that this and if we're lucky, the Renis Alma too. Any idea where we should start looking?
There is an area of the city that is accessible only to the Sovereigns, known as the Forbidden Zone. That seems as good a place as any for us to start.
Forbidden? What are they hiding?
I don't know, hence my desire to find out. Fortunately, we just so happen to have a Sovereign in our midst. In any case, changing the shape of a huge structure such as Lenegis would have required an immense source of power.
And you think that source might have been the Renis Alma?
Precisely. Alphen said that he remembered the Renis Alma being used in the spirit channeling ceremony 3 centuries ago. Whatever the ceremony's purpose, if preparations are underway for it to be held once more, then the Renis Alma might be in the same place as last time, possibly together with the Red Woman. Hiding something of that worth in the residential quarters would only court trouble. In which case...
It stands to reason we should be looking somewhere normally out of bounds. Is that it?
Indeed.
But it's been over 300 years since I was made a Sovereign. You can't seriously think I'll be able to waltz right into the place after all this time.
There's only one way to find out. If there's even a chance you can get us in, I say we give it a shot.
Shion's right. Who knows? We might even find a clue to her thorns while we're at it.
All right. It's not like we're swimming in leads, so let's try to track down the Forbidden Zone. Beyond that wall lies a city full of Renins. The capital city where Shion and Dohalim used to live, no less. Who knows what we'll find on the other side.
What in the world?
This being Renin territory, I was prepared for a lot of things to look different. But this is a bit more than I anticipated.
The very foundations of the city have shifted. What could have caused this?
When Lenegis changed shape, it must have had an effect on the interior too.
Maybe when they sent the wedge down to Dana?
But they wouldn't move around the places where people live. These are their homes, right?
I would think the citizens themselves didn't have much say in the matter. Either way, locating the Forbidden Zone just became that much trickier.
Dohalim? Is that you?
Avakir, I'm glad to see you're well.
So it is you! But why are you here? Shouldn't you be down on Dana participating in the crown contest? And these people!
So you haven't heard what happened on Dana, then?
Heard what?
Someone you know?
An old friend.
Hey, Dohalim, don't tell me you've started keeping company with...
They're with me. More importantly, what's happened here?
I'm really not sure. The city's foundations began to shift without warning, and now everything looks like this. We're all waiting for the Sovereign to tell us what's happening, but so far...
Avakir, listen to me. We're looking for the Forbidden Zone. Do you have any idea where we might find it?
The Forbidden Zone? What business could you possibly have there?
Trust me. The less you know, the better.
You're just the same as ever. I wish I could help, but what with the changed topography, I can barely locate my own home. Let alone the Forbidden Zone.
Very well. It looks like we'll have to find the way there ourselves.
Have you seen Faria yet?
No.
I see. Well, nothing much has changed with her. If anything, she's probably even more...
I can well imagine.
Why did you come back? You know it can only result in pain for you both.
I've no doubt of that.
You really are the same as ever. Fine, I understand. Just don't say I didn't warn you. And take care of yourself. Okay, Do?
So who's Faria?
Law?
If what Avakir said is true, it would seem the people of Lenegis are being kept in the...
They seem to be just as clueless about what's going on up here in their own world.
We need more information. Let's talk to the citizens.
While we're at it, we can ask them about the Red Wolf.
And don't forget about finding the way to the Forbidden Zone either.
Let's leave the talking to Shion. We can't have a bunch of Danins poking their noses around.
Good idea. I think that...
I shall assist.
You sure?
Being a lord on Lenegis has its...
Right. Then we'll leave it to you two. The Danins among us should probably keep our heads down.
What if people freak out?
I shall explain it away by saying I'm leading you.
What are we, dogs?
I wonder just how many people have been saved by Shion in some form. I'm impressed.
There's rumors flying around about people being saved by a Renin vision of beauty.
Vision of beauty? That's a bit much.
Alphen.
Is everything okay? You look a little lost.
Oh, yes. I can't seem to find my way home, is all. I was just about to make my umpteenth attempt at a new route.
I was hoping to head this way myself. The situation is a real pain, huh?
I suppose the Sovereign knows best. I daren't stay here too long, though. A lower caste can only linger around these parts for so long before I outstay my welcome. I was hoping to avoid it, but maybe I'll have to go that way after all.
You mean you know another way round?
Lord Dohalim Ilkaris! But how? Last I heard...
Yes, strange, isn't it? If you know another route.
But of course. Please forgive me. There's a wall. I thought maybe it was a passageway between the different quarters, but I've no way...
It's worth investigating. I shall go and assess the situation. In the meantime, wait for me here.
You'd really do that for me? A lord troubling him...
Our lot in life is of little consequence. We are both...
Oh, why yes, my lord.
What could be so important? It's worth destroying people. It's just... unbelievable. Uprooting an entire city as if it were mere building.
From how it looks, they must be siphoning off astral energy
But why do all this? What for? Surely they can't be using all that energy for the crown contest.
Whatever their purpose, disrupting their siphoning process alone won't be sufficient.
He's right. We need to stop this from...
This Forbidden Zone might be where we find some answers, right? So what are we waiting for?
You heard him. You don't have time to stop and chat.
So, I've been wondering, do you think when Lenegis was built, it was even made with people...
What do you mean?
Well, none of this happened by coincidence, right? They must have designed it to But then, if they knew people were going to live here, you'd think they would have taken that into consideration.
Ordinarily, yes. You trust me. As far as we were concerned, Lenegis was our home, nothing more. It makes you wonder whether the city was just built on as an afterthought. But if so...
Sorry. That probably...
Not at all. Sometimes it takes an outsider's eye. This place is a mystery, that's for sure. Something tells me we'll find answers where we're...
Yeah, you're right, Shion.
Your lordship! Oh, what a great honor! I descended to Dana during the last crown contest also. Alas, when the contender I was backing failed to clinch the title, I returned. I witnessed the deaths of so many slaves.
Indeed.
Sorry to interrupt, but we're looking for a woman dressed all in red. Have you seen anyone of that description?
All red, eh? No, I can't say I remember anyone like that. I imagine she'd stand out somewhat, too.
Yeah. What about down on Dana during the crown contest? You didn't see anyone like that hanging around the lord you were serving?
What's with all these questions? I've never seen her, okay? Not recently or otherwise. Why do you want to find her anyway?
Never mind. Forget I asked. Sorry to take up your time.
Oh, dear me. What an unspeakable... Whatever did we do to deserve this?
You really have no clue what might have...
Would that I have. Alas, there was no warning, we have no choice. But do my eyes deceive me? Could I really be standing in the presence of his lordship, Dohali? I believed he was on...
Your eyes do not deceive you. It is I, one and the same.
As your lordship wishes. First, Lenegis mutates beyond record. The Ilkaris house has produced a great many lords.
Your good wishes do me an honor.
Well, we've canvassed the city for information.
No one has the faintest idea what's happened to the city after all. They have...
You'd think that info would easily find its way up here.
Not to this extent. Which would indicate that something's suppressing the truth. That Lenegis is under some kind...
Given everything that's happened to their city, the people...
Yeah, that one guy even said his Zoogle had stopped listening to him. If that's true...
Everything that happens here is attributed to the Sovereign's will. It's the way people have been Nothing happens devoid of a reason. To them, it's all part of the Sovereign's
The Sovereign's plan... There is one thing I'm still not sure about.
The Sovereign, of course. He rules from Rena while presiding over both Rena and...
Without the lords or anyone in the middle doing his dirty work? Isn't Rena at least the same size as Dana? That's a pretty big dominion for one person to rule over. I would have thought ruling Lenegis alone would be difficult enough.
And the points you make are valid, though I confess I'd never given it much thought before. Here, come to think of it, I know nothing of the nature of how... Shion, have you ever been... No, forgive me. Have you met or crossed paths?
No,
Neither have I. In which case, I would imagine that...
Hold up, what are you getting at, Dohalim?
Assuming what I believe to be correct, it's possible that no one on Lenegis has ever laid eyes on the actual Renan homeworld itself.
But what about trade and communication? There's got to be a flow.
Not if the Sovereign is imposing his will on Lenegis single-handedly.
But I thought you said that the Sovereign's all the way over on Rena. If that's the case, what if something were to happen to the city? Like...
I'm beginning to wonder what the nature of this Sovereign even is. Alphen said he was forced into the role, right? Just before the ceremony. But Sovereign is also the title given to the almighty Renan ruler. So
whoever wins the crown contest inherits the throne from his or her predecessor, before becoming ruler over all of Rena and Lenegis. Thereafter, that individual is known as the Sovereign. Though, it would appear that the current ruler has gone silent. As for how Volron factors into all this, at this point...
3 centuries ago, I became the Sovereign here on Lenegis. No, not just became, I was forced to. Me, a Danon. 300 years later, we cross paths with Volron, who also bears the Sovereign's crest. That's not the only thing we have in common. We both became Sovereign without winning the crown contest.
Do you think Volron was made Sovereign for the same reason? Because of that ceremony?
I can't say for sure, but it certainly sounds like it.
But that would mean that 2 Sovereigns would need to exist at any one time. One whose job it is to rule, and the other for ceremonial purposes. We never did see Volron's body back in Ganath Haros. Is a new ceremony underway with Volron at its center this time? Could that be what's causing all this strange activity here?
Wait a second. You don't think Volron and the Red Woman are working together, do you? The ceremony can't go forward without the Renis Alma. The same one that the Red Woman stole.
There's something else the ceremony needs. A maiden. And unless there's another one out there...
Questions, questions, and yet more questions. Ones that it seems will...
If the Forbidden Zone really is off limits to everyone but the Sovereign, that seems as good a place as any to start.
Then it's decided.
One of the citizens mentioned a passage that she thought might lead to another section of the city. Let's go find it! I didn't realize Renans oppressed their own kind, too.
And yet, weirdly, none of them seem to mind. Am I the only one who
It is the way things have always been, so no one thinks to question it. You have experience.
Unquestioning acceptance of your own servitude. Yeah.
Even so, the quality of life here seems much higher than any Danon city we visited. I used to think it was impossible to build an ideal society without wealth. But I suppose having it...
More to the point, not a single citizen seems to have even heard of the Red Woman.
What if she's not here? What if it turns out we're looking in the...
It's still too early to say anything for sure.
For all we know, she might be able to blend in, move around unnoticed. I say we hold off judgment until...
Tell me, Dohalim, has that skill of yours got...
And what skill would this be?
You know, when you're talking to people around town. The way they...
I'm afraid I don't...
I do. It's called friendly. Look imposing and speak in a deep, booming voice, and presto, you'll have...
I would never stoop to such scandalous tricks. Any feelings of intimidation are...
So there is a knack to it! How do you learn it? Can anyone...
Now you've got me curious. Is there special training to master?
Let's see. An obsession with being elegant is a must. Oh, and it helps to be old-fashioned, too. Bonus points if you speak in a way...
If you've a bone to pick with me, it'd be quicker to just come out and...
What? They look up to you, that's all.
Hey! What's got into Alphen and Law?
I can barely understand a word they're saying. And what's with the weird poses? Was it something they ate?
I hope you're willing to take the blame for this one.
I wasn't expecting them to take me so seriously. I'll go and...
With nobody left to run the show, I wonder what the people... I mean, there's sovereigns up on the Renan homeworld.
But Dohalim was a lord.
Only current acting lords have power. Renan society is quite strict about...
Even if the other lords were still around, I doubt they'd be able to do much about the situation.
I wonder what they'd think if they were here to see Lenegis now. Balsif, Ganabelt. Now that I think of it, aside from Dohalim, we know next to nothing about the other
Well, yeah, why would we? To us Danans, they were just enemies we needed to overthrow. No.
I know. But seeing Renans in their own city, going about their day-to-day lives...
It feels strange to imagine the lords...
Yeah.
If you're that curious about them, why not try inquire? Every lord in their household has their share of supporters here on Lenegis. And luckily for us, the people here are unaware of the events on Dana, which means they should be...
Balsef had it in him to care about someone other than himself? Really?
It's possible. A change in position can do...
I guess she intended to spread it throughout all of Lenegis then.
Good thing the lines were down so she couldn't.
It almost sounded like she was praising them, too.
Maybe there was more to the guy than at first glance.
I shall...
What?
Ganabelt was so horrible to people, yet he was invested in helping Rena succeed. Doesn't that seem just a little inconsistent?
I'm perhaps biased in this matter, I admit. However, in my mind, while all lords vie to become the next sovereign, they're also meant to serve as guardians of all of Rena.
It seems like Ganabelt also had people he cared about until the very end.
So why couldn't he extend that to us Danans?
This area doesn't look as badly damaged as that other district we went.
Pardon.
I guess her willingness to stoop to any low came from a survival of the fittest worldview.
And some people here not only shared her belief, but championed it.
It seems like the people on Lenegis don't really know much about Volron either.
I remember being quite surprised when the Lord of Ganath Harrows changed so abruptly.
Didn't you have any doubts that something suspicious was going on?
On the contrary. Remember, we Renans are raised to accept everything at face value.
When you think about it, the families of Renan lords must see them differently.
Yeah, despite the brutality
They must have had a lot on their shoulders, carrying all the weight and...
Renans live in a world where strength and power determine their position in the social hierarchy. But their loyalty to their people is also strong. It's what brings them together against outside forces.
That's what makes them the guardians of all of Renars.
Right. It's the same reason Balsif hated my guts, and Ganabelt went after you.
Guess that makes you an even bigger oddball than we thought.
So, Alphen, have you gained any...
Yeah. I think it's made me realize that the lords were all... Balsif and the others, they all had their own circumstances to deal with as they...
Yeah, but still, just because they...
I know. What they did was horrible. I'm not trying... But at the same time, they weren't incomprehensible monsters either. So I guess...
You're saying that they weren't bad because they were Renans, or because they were terrible monsters. Even if they did terrible things, they were still...
Rinwell.
Am I wrong?
Not at all.
Being a Danan doesn't make you a good person. And being a Ren... I think that's something we've all seen.
Shion and Dohalim definitely make a good case.
And I'm going to keep doing my best to make sure I earn that trust. As a fellow...
There's something I just don't get.
What is it?
The crown contest itself has always gone ahead, in which case the current sovereign of Rena should be whoever it was that
Yeah, that...
So...
Hanfried Milgras, the former lord of Cyslodia.
So then this Han-freaked whatchamacallem, he's the current ruler of Rena?
The last I heard, yes. Though, admittedly, I haven't actually seen him since...
You're saying that ever since becoming sovereign, he's never actually shown him?
I guess over holocom maybe, but not in the flesh.
Now that you mention it, I don't recall anyone ever visiting Lenegis from the motherland, sovereign or other.
And that never struck you as a little bit odd?
When you live here, it's as if you're conditioned not to notice all these strange quirks and discrepancies.
A new Renis Alma is supposedly created to coincide with every crown contest. In other words, if that's true, there should be as many of the things out there as there have been contests.
True, but going on what we witnessed in Pelagian, it didn't... But if even the victor's speeches have been part of some grand deception, then where are they? Quite...
You and me both. Though we are Renin by blood, neither of us even knew that such a thing...
With any luck, the Forbidden Zone might give us some answers.
No use standing around here chatting about it then. Let's get a move on.
What could this be?
Doe?
Faria.
Varia? Isn't that the person that Avakir guy was...
But why are you here? Wait. Don't tell me you've given up on the crown contest. Nothing to say? Even though you were willing to kill Tarnigan to secure your kill?
I'm here to take care of something. If you wish to continue this conversation, I only ask...
Oh, of course. You always did prefer to take the coward's way out. Even after 7 years and living on that... But let me tell you, I haven't changed either. Not a day's gone by the past 7 years that I haven't hated you.
If killing me will bring you peace...
Dohalim, what the hell are you saying?
First, I have business to take care of. If it's vengeance you seek, I will... My sins are legion. Let me finish what I came to do. Then you have my word. I will let you do what...
Sure, that's it. Run away like always. You don't even have the courage to die. No wonder you leave it to someone else. You're just a coward!
Dohalim.
I apologize that you had to witness that.
Is it true? What she said about you killing someone?
Each of us have our pasts. I am no exception.
Before, back in Menancia, you mentioned having taken a friend's life over the throne. Is that what she meant?
The mistakes I made there were not my first, and may not be my last. I will say no more.
Did you mean what you said? About letting her take your life if she wanted to?
She has more right to my life than anyone.
But you can't just...
Whatever happens, I have sworn to put an end to the crown contest, and to ensure continued coexistence in Menancia. I have no intention of expiring before I do so. There are far too many questions I still seek answers to. Besides, you have just as much reason to kill me as she does.
Dohalim!
Forgive me. Some things are best left unsaid.
place is beautiful!
Yeah, it must be some sort of rest and leisure area for the locals.
You think? Man, these Renin sure know how to live it up, don't they?
Is something the matter, Dohalim?
Before I went down to Dana, my friends and I, we used to gather at this very spot and play music together. Avakir, Faria, and Tarnagan. That was a lifetime ago now.
Tarnagan. He was the one that Faria mentioned, right?
He was once my dearest, closest friend. As well as Faria's betrothed. Despite Faria's lower-class upbringing, she possesses a tremendous talent for music. Entranced by her playing, I helped her overcome her sense of inferiority and introduced her to Tarnagan and Avakir. It was a time of great joy. 4 people bound only by their love of music, with no care for social standing. Only the next song, the next melody.
A friendship based on mutual respect, and a society where everyone is a prisoner to their social class. You really are different, Dohalim.
I suppose it's natural you would see it as strange.
I would have, once. Now, I think the idea of breaking away from society's constraints and choosing your friends based solely on affection is something beautiful that's worth cherishing. Besides, it was that way of looking at the world that laid the foundations for coexistence in Menancia.
Your praise does me too great an honor. I was merely following the wishes of my own heart. And even then, it only lasted until the crown contest began. After that, Tarnagan and I became fierce competitors for the position of Lord. Tarnagan had fallen for Faria. By becoming Lord, he aimed to wrest her from her humble origins and raise her to the highest echelons of society. But fate was not so benevolent.
What happened?
Tarnagan was no match for me in combat. On a level playing field, he wouldn't have stood a chance. But he was desperate and low on options, and he couldn't stand the thought of defeat.
You mean he resorted to dirty tactics to try to win, right? But then why does Faria think... Wait, don't tell me she doesn't know.
How could I tell her? Combined with the trauma of losing her beloved, and by her friend's hand, no less. She would have been devastated.
So instead you let her go on hating you, so she could use that hate as a crutch for her grief?
That's not the same as running away, though.
It is exactly the same. Unable to face the loss of my friend and the burden of my duty. Instead, I decried my fate and looked away from what I'd done. As for what happened after, that you already know.
But if you hadn't become Lord, Menancia wouldn't be what it is now. The Danans there would still be suffering under Renin oppression like before.
Shion's right. What other lord would have treated me as you did? Anyone else and I would have been dead long ago. You've saved so many people, Dohalim. You saved me. It's thanks to you that I'm here today. So, try not to blame yourself. The burden you've placed on your own shoulders is too much for anyone to bear.
Frank as always. But I shall do my best to heed your advice.
Do you think he'll be all right?
Yeah, I think so. He's got Kisara.
It's important to have someone like that.
I didn't realize how difficult it is just to be there for someone.
Sometimes just knowing someone's on your side can be enough. And he knows, Shion. I promise he does.
I hope you're right. Alphen.
Yeah?
I never appreciated until recently just how much you were always there to support me.
It goes both ways. You've helped me keep going more times than I can count.
Maybe, but I still wanted to say thank you.
I see a medic and supply officer over there. If they know you're with me, they'll likely offer their assistance.
What do you say we check back in on the ranch?
Have you guys checked your equipment lately?
Damn it! Lenegis soldiers!
Any way we can avoid fighting them?
That all depends on them. Whatever happens, be ready.
Well, so much for them not wanting to fight.
Oh! I am Lord Dohalim of Elder Menancia. I command you.
Threats to the city must be erased.
No. Have they been brainwashed too?
Brainwashed or not, if they want to fight, they've got one.
Not on my watch!
This one's all mine.
Deal?
You picked the wrong place.
Denied!
I'm ready. Look sharp. Lightning Tiger Blade.
Hands in the wind! Air
Here I come.
That's my cue!
Shut him down.
Locked and loaded!
Here I come.
Rending you ready and ready! Freeze Lancer! Bloody now!
Those soldiers seem different from the citizens we've come across so far.
Yeah, they weren't big talkers, that's for sure.
They weren't in the least bit fazed by Dohalim.
Indeed. They seem to and yet, traditionally, Lenegis hasn't been high on threats. A few frenzied Zoogle.
Their glazed-over eyes reminded me of the soldiers and slaves we met back in Ganath Harem.
I've never seen anything like that here on Lenegis.
Maybe someone doesn't want us here. And the soldiers are their way of letting us know.
What with the Red Woman, the Sovereign, and Volron, we're starting to develop quite the growing list of adversaries.
Coming through!
Can't get out of this! Yours to be let free! Burn! Here I come!
Your reflexes will not serve you well here.
Eternal domestico!
I'm ready! Very well! Astral energy! Full throttle! Radiant pierce!
Take it! Elusive demon! Protect me, please! In a bind?
Do it!
Vacuum blade!
Get toasty!
Burn strike!
By the power of water!
Elusive deity! I'm ready! Too fast! Santa!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
If it's in the sky, it's
Vacuum
mine!
blade! Elusive deity!
Lightning orb!
You're mine!
I know fine weapon material when I see it.
Little help! Mega ray! Where are you going? This world confiscated!
Now or never! See what I can do! Time to cross blade! Not today! Can't get out of this! You're mine!
Here, let me help.
Double demon fang!
Begin! You're mine! Light astral blah blah blah! Please now! Lord of the Sky!
A charge like that could easily be fatal.
Just as well, I'm here to stop.
Now or never! No further! Here I come! Eat dirt!
Lunar corruption!
Anything in order!
Gemini Aqua!
I'm not done!
Annihilation! Harden! Blah blah blah!
Demon light!
Freedom!
Eternal
Blah
devastation!
blah blah!
Soaring cloud!
Sleep now!
Take
Here,
it!
let me help dream! First aid!
I owe you one!
Lightning orb!
Deny! Now or never! Can't get out of this! Here I come!
Glacial spear! I never miss!
Benediction light. You picked the wrong fight! Heal! I owe you one! There!
Lunar corruption!
Dazzle!
By the power of water!
Eternal devastation!
Aqua!
Take this!
Annihilation!
Soaring out!
Flame of fury!
There!
Shine!
Do it! Radiant light!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
I know fine weapon material when I see it.
Let's see what you've got. Vacuum blade! I can carve through armor! My shield?
Sorry.
Take down their defenses! I see what it is! We're not ready!
This one's got your name on it!
Ashes to ashes. A comfortable win.
No choice! Take this! You can't get out of this! I'm not done!
I'm ready! Lunar corruption!
You picked the wrong fight!
Anything in order you all now at night, then you leave me no choice!
Bring him down! It's yours!
Now! This ends now!
Consider yourself finished! Not again!
Leave the ensnaring to me.
Yeah! And the trouble is to me!
Chinese supernova! Charge the lever!
It's on!
I'm ready! Kitara! Go for it!
Prepare to crumble! You're quite the gunslinger.
I have to be, in this world.
Don't worry. I've got your back.
Go no further!
Now you learn!
Mine!
Elusive deity! Burn!
You require a hand.
Now! No further!
Take it down! A wailing
Far enough! Shattering the pieces!
All disasters made one!
Vacuum blade!
Dazzle!
It's on!
Glacial spear!
Don't get careless.
Those soldiers don't seem to have any qualms about attacking on sight.
Coming through!
You're mine! Eat this!
I'll thank you.
Not in your dreams!
I'm not done! Bringing thrust!
As if the normal creepy crawlies aren't disgusting enough.
Can't get out of this!
Holy land!
Take this!
A chain between heaven and earth.
It's turned on
Wailing beauty of what
Now you see what I can do!
I'll be saving this one.
You're mine!
Annihilation!
Demon Lash!
This one's all mine!
Eagle Ray!
Annihilation!
It's turning on!
Far enough!
Reload! Celestial Wind!
It's turned on devastation!
Finish without a trail!
This one keeps charging us!
That's what my shield's for. Get behind me.
Got it! I'll leave it to you! No further! No escape!
This one's mine! I'll be saving
Demon
this
Fang!
one!
Captivity!
Lightning to death!
Glacial Spear!
Pierce evil! Illuminate
I can carve through one!
Holy land!
You're my...
Here goes!
I'm not
Healing
done!
circle!
You're my Demon Fang!
Illuminate the dark!
This one's all mine! It's total devastation!
Darling! This one's got your name on it!
To action!
Remember to tell me if you need healing.
I expect you'll be in high demand if that's the case.
Let's dispose of this
You're
crowd.
mine! You picked the wrong fight! Take this!
Photon blast!
No further!
The flame!
Leave the torch like me! Day's might with blackened blade!
Vacuum blade! Turn on devastation! Take this! No escape!
No further!
There!
Healing circle!
Crush! Double Demon Fang!
I'm in your debt.
Dazzle!
Reload! Celestial hammer!
You're mine! No escape!
Now you see what I can do!
Raging
Vacuum!
cascade!
This one's all mine!
Break!
Double Demon Fang!
Malevolent! Blah, blah, blah! Water! Hear my call!
Burn!
Blood! Glacial spear! Pierce evil! Burning!
You're mine! No escape!
No further!
Who wants to go next? Confiscating!
It's
Where
over!
are you going?
There!
Far beyond the darkest
Elusive
sky!
deity!
I
It's
follow
total
God's
devastation!
lead! Lunar corruption! Shooting star!
demon
Gemini aqua! Seal! Annihilation! Now!
Ready to go!
Mega ray!
Look sharp! Lightning Tiger Blade!
My exploits are bearing fruit.
No choice!
You got spirit!
Take this!
Winds of
Ignore!
Reload!
Ready and raring!
That may prove a thorn in the side.
There!
Fire support!
I owe you one! Take this! No escape! No escape! Still!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished! Now! Start up! Lunar Roller! This one's all mine!
Now!
Still!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
Small, but a victory nonetheless.
We have a long way yet to go.
I won't forgive you!
Take this! Not today! Damn it!
It's weakened!
I'm not done! This ends now!
Radiant Star! How long are we gonna keep this up for exactly?
Be damned!
This one's mine! Celestial!
Shattering the pieces!
Here I come! out of this! I'm ready! Can you take it?
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished! Reflect on thy... My blade! Ignite! Here I can carve through one! My shield! I'm ready!
Astral energy!
Say no more.
I'm practically unstoppable.
An opponent like this should be easy. It's over!
Elusive deity! Rotating
Here I come! Be still! Lunar Rongo!
on your knees.
Illusion! By the whirling bounty of lightning!
This one's all mine!
Bloody I'm ready! Evil! This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
Don't get complacent.
This must be it. The entrance to the Forbidden Zone.
But it's just a wall. How do we get through?
Whoa, we? I thought this was sovereigns only.
Alvin.
Yes! It opened!
Interesting. If Alphen's presence still opens the way, it would seem the Sovereign of 3 centuries ago and now are considered one and the same.
What?
What the?
Alphen.
You again.
Tomorrow's the spirit channeling ceremony. We'll finally play our parts as the Sovereign and Maiden. How have you been feeling?
What am I sovereign of? Shuffled from lab to lab, always treated like an experiment. Whenever they look at me, all they see is a Danon. I don't even know what their precious ceremony's for. Let alone what they're going to force me to do as the Sovereign. Tell me, if we're both in the same boat, why do you seem so calm right now?
No choice. Becoming the Maiden's not something I wanted for myself. But they said Rena's prosperity depended on it. How could I say no after that?
Still, as a Renan, at least you got to decide. Good for you. Meanwhile, I was taken from my homeland. You aren't the captive one here.
It isn't right what they did to you, and I'm sorry for what it's worth. When this is over, I swear I'll help you get home. I can't do this alone. One more day.
How could I say no to that? It's not like I have any choice in the matter anyway. So, what's your name?
It's Naori. Naori Imaris. Try to remember this time.
You don't act like them. Like the other Renans, I mean. How come you treat me like a person?
Because you are. It's true we come from different worlds. But neither one of us asked to be here right now. In that sense, you and I are much the same. We couldn't do this. We wouldn't be able to talk to each other as people if we didn't see the humanity in each other. So I suppose the question you should be asking is, why wouldn't I treat you like one?
You're not like the others.
Maybe they're not like me.
Here's what we'll do. We give them their damn ceremony. You get me to Dana. That'll be the end of it. I'm taking you at your word on this. I'm trusting you, not them. Naori.
What the hell just happened?
That vision. Did everyone else see it too?
That person Alphen was speaking to, she looked exactly like Shion.
It was Naori. Naori Imaris. Isn't that right?
Yeah, that's right.
She really does look like Shion. I'm beginning to see...
That's all very well and fine, but what did we just witness exactly? It was too real to be a me.
It was a conversation we had 300 years ago.
You mean all of that really happened? We just saw an episode straight out.
But how is that even possible? Unless...
No.
Why not?
You guys didn't feel it? The moment the entrance opened, it was like a stream of Danon astral energy rushing over.
I felt it too. And not for the first time either. It was...
That would make sense. After all, vast amounts of Dana's astral energy were being siphoned and sent up. For all we know, perhaps we're close to the spot where all that energy was.
So you think it might have been the energy itself that was responsible for that vision?
We have no way of knowing. Maybe it's not even as deliberate.
Shion, you...
Yeah. It was all just a little sudden. So that was my ancestor, huh? It was like looking...
Yeah, there certainly is a resemblance.
What about you?
Me?
Even putting aside the question of where that vision came from, it's likely reliving painful episodes from your past.
I can't just pretend like the past never happened. Besides, if it helps us uncover the truth of what that ceremony really was, it might also lead to answers about your
Alphen.
That's not all. This whole time, we've been fighting to free Dana from the Renans. But now that we're here, it seems I'd like to liberate them too if I can. Which is just another reason I can't afford to shield my eye.
Whether you're on Dana or somewhere else, you always stay the same. Your indignation and righteous passion. Not that I'm complaining. Come on, let's...
Nobody's here.
Stay sharp. After that last illusion, there's no telling what could happen in here.